Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, Vinny here with another great business to discuss on this episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. Today's guest is Matt, and he's selling his Amazon FBA business on the Empire Flippers marketplace. Welcome to the show, Matt. How are you doing?
Hey Vinny, thanks for bringing me on. I'm happy to be a repeat seller with Empire Flippers.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm really looking forward to it as well. And I'm really looking forward to, talking about your FBA business today. Just for our listeners, I'm just going to go over a really brief summary of the listing. So it's an Amazon FBA business in the sports, outdoors and health and fitness niche. It was created in January 2018. The average monthly revenue for the business is $10,184, and it makes an average of $5,695 per month in net profit. The assets included in the sale: the Amazon Seller Central account with 14 SKUs, a domain with all of the site content and files, and Instagram accounts. Please note that any inventory is not normally included in the listing price, so further details will be provided to active buyers. You can head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 48606 to learn more about the business. If you want to start your due diligence, just remember to unlock the listing first. So with all that out the way, Matt, let's talk a bit about you and just understand a bit about your background. Can you tell me about how you got started in online businesses? Did you sort of stumble into it, or was this something that you always had your heart and mindset on?
I was an influencer on YouTube for 8 years, and I've been wanting to quit for a long time. So in July 1st of 2019, I purchased this listing from a friend of mine, and then that was my first dabble into Amazon FBA and e-commerce. So I've been managing the business, and then November 2019, I started my own shoe brand, and that has been doing really, really well. So I'm here because I want to sell this business because, number one, I want to only focus on one thing, which is the shoe brand. And then the second thing is I need more capital to buy more shoes. And so that is kind of like what I've been doing the last couple of years. And I'm really looking forward to transition from being a YouTuber to being a shoe brand owner.
Yeah, that sounds fair enough. I think you touched on a couple of other points I was going to bring up later on. So I just want to backtrack a bit and just explore a bit about why you entered into e-commerce specifically, especially with this niche as well. Like, what was it about this business that was so attractive to you?
What was attractive to me about the product was actually I was a customer of this product line before. Not this exact product that we're selling, but I've bought similar products in the past. So I knew as a consumer that how important this product is for serious weightlifters. So I knew it would be an evergreen necessity as people get into working out. And also it was purely a analytical thing. Like, the numbers made sense. The deal that my friend gave me was a good deal. So it was a practical reason. The numbers made sense, and the price made sense. But also it was a product that I've used before, so I believed in it.
Yeah, I think that sounds fair enough, because obviously health and fitness niche is obviously very popular for e-commerce, and I think some people may feel it's a bit too saturated, especially if they want to venture into online business for the first time. So yeah, it makes sense that you did due diligence and you found that all the numbers and everything aligned, and it made sense to pick it up. Our new listeners who are thinking about getting into online business for the first time, why do you think that Amazon FBA is a really good business model?
I think Amazon is a good business model for someone just starting out, because especially if you're acquiring a business such as this one, is that you don't have to worry about managing your own website or your own sales page. And I think that takes a lot out of the work. In addition, acquiring customers is just simply through Amazon pay-per-click advertising. It's one of the easier forms of pay-per-click advertising. It's much easier than Google, much easier than Facebook ads, because Amazon has so many systems and has so many customers, and you don't have to worry about all the technical aspects of running your own e-commerce website and business, including the fact that Amazon handles the refunds and exchanges for you as well. It just is a good entry level for people just trying to get into e-commerce without having to worry about the other complicated details of running a business on your own website.
Yeah, that's a great answer. So I just want to touch on your experience of building this business. What did you learn from building this FBA business in these particular niches that you felt like really worked for you?
One thing that really increased the sales of the main product, which is the sports equipment one, is that we improved the listing. So we took better pictures, particularly lifestyle pictures. So I mentioned earlier in the interview that I was an influencer for 8 years. And so that multimedia experience, the experience of creating thumbnails and creating videos for several years really helped me have a good eye for pictures and videos. And so what we did was we significantly improved the pictures on the listing to add more lifestyle images, which increased sales by a lot. I rewrote the listing, so I improved the copy on that as well, and that definitely boosted sales. So now we're definitely in the top. At the time that we're filming this podcast, the product is always in the top 5 of its niche category. And so that really brought it up as well. What I learned from this experience of acquiring this business is that the listing is really something that it can be improved on and is really the most important thing. And what I like about this business is because the product itself is quite niche, the gym equipment 2 SKUs, is that it's not big enough where you're going to get a lot of competitors that are going to come in and you're constantly fighting for market share. This niche is it's a smaller niche. It's not massive. And so you're not going to have these constant people trying to take your pie. I've owned this business for a year and no real competitors came into the space. This is the same 5-10 people at the top and that's pretty much it. And I really doubt any really serious or competitive Amazon sellers are going to get into this niche because it's a little bit too small for their effort. So it's one of those businesses where, yes, it's not going to be that scalable because the niche is so small. But what that does provide is that you're also not going to have to always worry about competitors. So now that I've improved the listing, the business is very simple to run. It just constantly ranks. And one thing that you could do is maybe do some Amazon PPC to help get more sales. But otherwise, you really don't have to worry about competitors coming into your space and always having to constantly battle them for ranking.
Yeah, there's a lot of great nuggets that you've thrown in there. You've touched on a couple of points I was going to hopefully explore with you later on in the interview. Unpack a bit about what you're saying, because obviously there's so much great stuff there. You were saying, because you found, a niche that isn't too high in competition, and then from there you were able to sort of capitalize on that and really improve the business by, like you say, taking better images, improving the copy, which resulted in, high conversion rates and basically, even better sales, which sounds awesome. Let me ask you, if you flip the coin a bit and then we just ask, what did you try that didn't work for this business in particular?
I tried to launch a product in a different niche, which was in the bathroom niche, and that one was just failed miserably because it was this is something that if you're selling on Amazon would be a good tip, is that when I told the suppliers to package it, the way I had them fold the product was it was laid out and it was longer than 18 inches. And with Amazon, anything longer than 18 inches is considered oversized. And when Amazon is dealing with what they deem oversized product, which is anything longer or taller than 18 inches, the storage and the fulfillment fees are astronomical. It just goes from double or triple from a product that is standard size. So that's what I learned launching a product on my own in the bathroom niche. Because there was so much headache and because I knew it would take a long time to make that product profitable, what we did is we just discarded that listing completely. And so that's kind of what I learned trying to grow this Amazon business, is sort of the little nuances of launching new products. But in terms of what didn't work, I would say everything else worked really, really well. That was the main thing that didn't work.
Yeah, fair enough. At least you were able to, hone in on the learning process of, like you say, launching new products. So it's a bit of a tricky business. I just want to touch on the marketing side of stuff now. What do you do in terms of marketing for the business right now?
In the past, I've ran PPC. You do have to monitor it, just someone has experience doing Amazon PPC. It's pretty straightforward. We do have already the target keywords ready for the buyer, so that can work. Recently, I've turned it off because I want to slow down sales a little bit because now we're in the process of selling the business, and I want to make sure that the next buyer has plenty of inventory that they're not going to run out. And so in the meantime, I've turned off PPC just to make sure that we will have enough inventory for the next buyer.
Cool. Yeah, that's great. Let me talk about the work that's required, on a sort of a day-to-day basis. Can you describe what do you do to maintain the business?
It's really simple. You just have to make sure that you don't run out of inventory. So what I usually do is I order about 4 months of inventory every 3 months. So I kind of give it a little bit of margin, a little bit of time, and that's pretty much it. I mean, every day, once a day. What I generally do is I check sales once a day just for fun. But again, that's not really a requirement for the buyer as long as they do their forecasting properly. Maybe you check it every couple of days. That's pretty much all you need to do. As I mentioned earlier in the interview, this product ranks. It's an uncompetitive niche. No serious competitors have entered the space in the past year. I really don't see like a lot of competitors coming in and taking market share. So as long as you just keep inventory, I think you're going to be fine.
Mm-hmm. Can you describe the process of getting the inventory to Amazon warehouses and what the average turnaround time is for stock to reach FBA warehouses?
Yeah, it's super simple. I work with a supplier in China, which of course the contact will be given to the buyer. I just tell them how much I need, and it's very simple forecasting math, like based on sales velocity. Email them, ask them, can you give me an invoice? They send me an invoice. I wire the money to them from the business bank account. They get the money, and then it takes them about 2 to 3 months to make it, and then about 1 month for freight forwarding from China, and then arrives in the port of Long Beach, and then is taken by Amazon partner carrier from there to the Amazon warehouse. And a very standard process for replenishing inventory that if you've done it one time before, you've had other Amazon business, it's just as simple.
Yeah, that absolutely makes sense. So just imagine if I was someone who had no idea about Amazon FBA or any of these niches in particular and wanted to acquire this business. What would you say are some essential skills or knowledge that I should brush up on if I want to step in and start running the business and hit the ground running?
I think the most important thing is just learning some basic inventory management. As long as the business has inventory, at least some money will be coming in for sure. And because this product is in the sports equipment niche, I really don't see it being suspended by Amazon for any reason. I mean, there really isn't no reason. And so this isn't like a risky product, such as supplements. I consider supplements like a really risky subject because if someone gets sick digesting your supplements, you can get suspended or even worse, sued. But this product, I mean, I really don't think if a prospective buyers do unlock the listing, they're going to realize that, this product is you're kind of like a staple. It's just incredibly safe. So, and because I've already optimized the listing, really you just have to keep the stuff in inventory. Maybe you could learn Amazon PPC to increase the sales velocity, and that's pretty much it. It doesn't really get much more complicated than that.
Yeah, that's a really good answer because I think it's often underrated skill learning how to manage your inventory. But as soon as you run out of stock even once, I think that can damage the brand quite a lot. So yeah, learning how to order enough inventory is obviously essential for sure. You touched on this earlier, but I just want to talk about the opportunities for potential buyers. I mean, if you did keep the business, what would be some of the ways you would try to grow it?
Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of the things thrown into other people about how to grow businesses with their social media and all that stuff. I really think because this item is on the lower end in terms of price, those kind of social media campaigns aren't really going to work. What I think is probably just going to be your best bet is just really optimizing the Amazon PPC, and that's pretty much it. I really don't think influencer stuff or Facebook or Instagram or anything kind of outside of Amazon is going to be worth it, in all honesty, because the price point is just too low.
Yeah, that's really good nuggets for our listeners to hear, for sure. I mean, all online businesses in general, really, will always have inherent risk. What do you think are some of the biggest risks with this business that a buyer should be aware of?
Honestly, that's a pretty tough one. I mean, just your standard Amazon risk is that, yes, this is a safe product where I don't foresee any problems with Amazon, but, Amazon can always suspend you for whatever reason because they tend to do that to sellers. So there's the risk that, yes, there's only one sales channel, which is Amazon, instead of a business that can sell on Amazon, Facebook, and Google and everything. So essentially the main risk is that there's only one sales channel, which is Amazon. That could be a risk. In terms of other risk, I think if you lose ranking for whatever reason, say for example, I mean, our ranking has stayed the same for this whole year and I really haven't touched much. But if for whatever reason the buyer modifies the listing and whatever you do change lowers the rank of the product, then yeah, you're not going to get sales anymore. So those are two risks that should be considered. In terms of supplier risk, I really don't think it's going to be an issue because, this is a common commodity. Should you have problems with your relationship with the supplier, you could always just find another one that could produce this product, whether that's in China or a different country as well.
Yeah, I think those really sensible risk factors for sure. Like you say, Amazon can change their commission rates and all the other stuff when you are hosting a business on their platform. But yeah, that's a really good point about suppliers as well. It's good to maintain good relationships with them, but if it goes south, it's always good to have a few backup ones for sure. Just want to ask you a few other questions really, just on a slight tangent related to your learning about FBA businesses. Was there anyone who you felt really inspired you when you were building the business that you feel our listeners would benefit from as well? This could be certain FBA influencers or certain communities, or just any of the resources that are just really great to learn about FBA businesses.
In all honesty, most of the time when I've tried advice taken from Amazon FBA influencers, I actually usually lost money in many cases. For me, what has been the most support that I've received is actually making friends who are big Amazon sellers that I could go to for advice. And the advice that I get is, number one, very specific to my problem, which is really important. Because, when you read a blog or you listen to someone's podcast, yeah, they're giving you advice, but your situation could be completely different, whether it's because of your product, whether because the stage of your business is at. And so when you apply advice that's not appropriate for your product or for the stage of business or for your situation, you're going to lose money. So the best thing I could have done is meet friends who are much more experienced than me at Amazon and then ask their specific advice at specific problems I've had. And the good thing about that is their answers are not solicited. They don't have reason to lie to me or reason to upsell me on anything. They just give me the best advice. So in my opinion, that's where I get my advice from, and almost to a point where I almost refuse to accept advice from Amazon FBA gurus.
That's a really great tip, because obviously there are a lot of great free resources out there, but sometimes they might not be particularly relevant to your business. So I think that's a really good tip there for anyone who wants to learn and accelerate their growth by making those connections. Was there any software or tools that you felt really helped you when you first started running the business?
I've dabbled in a lot of Amazon PPC software tools, some third-party ones outside of Amazon. And yeah, they could be effective at automating things and also pulling up some data for you. But really, if you are someone who is pretty good at Amazon PPC, even just the built-in tools for Amazon PPC should be adequate enough for you to be profitable. Like, you can do everything. Yes, the tools can automate or make things a little bit more streamlined, but really, if you know the process of doing it, and Amazon has a lot of resources on this. Actually, Amazon reaches out to me probably at least once a week with either a webinar, or they actually even give you an account rep. So they have actually given me reps to help me with my PPC, help me out there. So that's kind of where I go to.
Great stuff. So just a few wrap-up questions then towards the end of this interview. How much support are you offering buyers? The standard 30 days of email and Skype calls, or is it any more?
No, I think in this kind of situation, I'm pretty accommodating. I know there's always things that come up. So what I could do is 60 days. And then even after the 60 days, if there's small things necessary that can be handled very simply through email. And I always know these small little details that come up hey, do you have this information or do you have that information? For sure, I'm willing to help the buyer even beyond 60 days.
That's really good to know. Would you be willing to commit to a non-compete?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm willing to comply to a non-compete. I have no particular interest in selling this product anymore, especially considering I'm focusing on my shoe brand.
Yeah, awesome. And are you open to negotiating something like an earnout?
In all honesty, I'm not open to an earnout, but I am a pretty motivated seller. So if you are out there listening and you're looking to buy, shoot a number, who knows? And we can begin a conversation. So I know anybody will tell me not to tell people that, but I am a motivated seller and I am looking more for speed, because essentially faster I get that money, even if it's a little less than the listed price, the faster I can reinvest that into more shoes. So speed matters, and if you're the first one to give an offer, you might be able to get a really good deal here.
That's great to know. So final question from me is, if you just put yourself in the shoes of a buyer and you were on the other side of the looking glass, why do you think this FBA business is worth buying?
I think the best reason is how stable this business is in terms of just constantly just bringing in money without having to fight other Amazon sellers for ranking. It's stable. It just ranks, it sits there, and it's just going to be this ideal pocket of cash flow that you're going to have without too much trouble, whether that's getting suspended from Amazon or competitors coming into your space. It's a safe product that it just works. It's evergreen. People are always going to be working out. If anything, given the current situation in the US, it looks like we're not going back to regular gyms anytime soon. So I think there's a lot more time when the sports niche is going to be still very exploding right now. And it seems like, based on what's happening in America right now with the coronavirus and the number of cases per day at the time of the recording of this podcast, we still got plenty of time when this product is going to be exceptionally popular.
Awesome stuff. Is there anything that you'd like to share that you think I might have missed during our interview?
No, that's all. Definitely willing to be more than a helping hand beyond the 30 days to the buyer, and be willing to even continually help through emails up to actually a whole year in terms of like emails, because I always know like some small details come in and like, you're like, man, like I need this piece of information from the seller. So yeah, I mean, if you need those one little nuggets of piece of information, like up to a year is okay.
That's great to know. Matt, it's been a real pleasure having you on the interview today, and all the best with your selling your business.
Thank you, Vinny Wong. Been a pleasure to be a guest.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this listing has already been sold, you can head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing number 48606. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. And once you've unlocked the listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about the business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.